Good evening, everybody. I'm calling in from Newfoundland.
Oh,
How's the lobster?
okay. So,
How's the lobster?
I haven't had any yet, but I'm sure it's good.
No doubt.
okay, Councillor
Yeah.
Leishman, we are live. We are live, and I see that Councillor McKechnie is away on holidays. The mayor is off today with some personal business, and John Lamers is with us via video. So I'm going to proceed with the meeting. I just mentioned that our CAO is with us via Newfoundland. So it's going to be an interesting meeting tonight. I'm going to start off with our land acknowledgement that we usually start in meetings with. And after looking and have heard this read and reading it myself many times, I realized that it was our wonderful clerk's department that did all the efforts to pull this together. So I found it would be quite appropriate for our clerk, who's head of our legislative services, to read the land acknowledgement for us.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to begin our meeting by recognizing the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples of Canada as traditional stewards and caretakers of the land. We acknowledge that Clearview Township is located within the boundaries of Treaty 18, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Tionatati, Wendat, and is home of many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples as part of an intricate nationhood that reaches across Turtle Island. At this time of truth and reconciliation, we welcome the opportunity to work together towards new understandings and new relationships, and ask for guidance in all we do.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. So I'm going to start with our agenda. Under closed, nothing. Approval of the agenda. I'll read the recommendation. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Clearview hereby approve the agenda dated August 22nd, 2022 as presented. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Walker and Councillor Leishman. Any questions or comments? Corrections to be made? I see none. All in favor? Motion carried. Item number 3 is disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Does anybody have anything to declare? And I see that Councillor Walker put his card up. Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The minutes of the council meetings of the July 25th and August 11th. I will not be voting on the minutes as there was some Southeast Senior wastewater dialogue within those minutes that I was not present for, so I therefore cannot support those minutes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Councillor Leishman.
Yes, the minutes of the August 11th meeting I cannot support. I was not here.
Okay. You'll take note of that. And that does not affect, because she's not here, does not affect that we still have quorum, just because she was absent. Correct? Okay, we passed the disclosure of pecuniary interest. I want to go to public participation. Did receive by email three letters. One from a Russell Post, one from Peter Daw, and one from Samantha Margis. And we have summarized basically what they said. It has to do with the notice of motion that Councillor Lamers has put forward. So I'll just read this how we have summarized it. Comments have been received from members of the public on the notice of motion regarding amendments to the ATV bylaw submitted by Councillor Lamers under section 13.1 on tonight's agenda. Prior to providing a summary of the comments received, I would like to note that the meeting tonight is only to receive the notice of motion. The motion itself will be coming forward to the September 12th, 2022 meeting, where it will be discussed and debated. Now I will summarize the comments. A compromise was made by council and was agreed upon and implemented. There is no reason to reopen the bylaw as facts have not changed. Safety, noise, environmental impacts, and resident preferences are still a concern. The other comment, the language in the amendment is broad and seeks to open all roads south of Concession Road 9 from Airport Road west to 124, which is far beyond what has been made available to ATVs. Core services can be rationalized and interpreted as just being about anything. This amendment leaves the door wide open for any route to be driven on. Residents provided with valid reasons for excluding this area of the township. The bylaw should remain as is. And the final comment, will there be designated direct access route that will be outlined as an approved route to the trails? The bylaw would need clarification with regard to the meaning of core services, i.e. medical, drugstores. Food is a core service, so this could allow for ATVs to go to the food land or any other restaurants downtown. Further notice and opportunity for public input should be provided on this change. Those are the ones that we received. And also received one from Mr. Huskinson's that was included in this review that I gave you. Is there anybody in the public who wishes to speak or make a comment? It is public participation, and I will read that. Public participation. Be advised that comments and views expressed under public participation period are not the views of Township of Clearview Council or the administration. Public participation is limited to 15 minutes. Each person is limited to 5 minutes. Questions or comments are be directed to the mayor. That's me for tonight. Questions shall not refer to personal matters, litigation, or potential litigation, planning matters that have already had a public meeting, or any item considered confidential. Please remember to share your time. Once again, I'll ask for a second time. Is there anybody in the audience gallery that would like to participate? I don't see anything. So I'm going to go on to item number 5, deputations and presentations. We have none. Public meetings, we have none. Approval of a council meeting minutes. Be it resolved that the Council of Township Clearview hereby approves the minutes of July 25th, 2022, special meeting, council meeting, August 11th, planning public meeting, July 27th, 22, as presented. I have a mover. Thank you, Councillor Broderick. Sorry, John. And Councillor Patterson, did I see your card? Yes, thank you, Councillor Patterson. Any comments? Any amendments anybody wants to make? All in favor? Motion carried. Thank you. And we'll go on to item number 8, business arising from minutes, of any. Communications from the mayor, no closed report. 9.2 Grey Highlands letter requesting, I'll start over. Grey Highlands letter requesting support, voters list information for candidates. QP SCFP Ontario request to proclaim October 18th, 2022 an annual child care worker and early childhood educator appreciation day. The mayor will be back before that, so I think we'll leave that up to him to do the declaration. Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, Township of Clearview supplement to the NVCA 2021 annual report. 9.5 Town of Aurora letter requesting support, private members bill C-233. And 9.6 City of Brantford letter requesting support, seeking prosperity and partnership with Indigenous nations in a timely resolution of the Haldimand tract land dispute. Does anybody want to pull any of those items? Yes, Councillor Patterson.
I just have a question for information on 9.2, the Grey Highlands question on the voters list. And I would like to pull 9.4 for information. 9.5. So those.
9.2, 9.4, 9.5. Has anybody else wanted to pull any? Yes, Councillor Leishman.
9.6, please.
9.6. Okay, anybody else? I guess we'll start with you, Councillor Patterson, 9.2.
So 9.2, I guess I could have a question to the clerk without getting into a lot of details. Are our candidates in the election in Clearview expect to get about the same information as we had last election, 2018? Similar. I mean, I know it's a different company.
Through your worship, yes, so the voters list will be pulled from MPAC. Unfortunately, the only information that you would not be receiving, you'd be receiving their names, you'll be receiving their physical address and their support, but you would not be receiving their mailing addresses.
Right, same as last time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Was there anything else on 9.2? That's, anybody else on 9.2? Okay, then we're off to 9.4. I believe it was Councillor Patterson, 9.4.
So this, being the township's representative on the NVCA, I just wanted to just give an update myself in terms of where we are in the process. The conservation authorities and of course the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority has put together, there's a let's just say a 4-part plan ending in 24, where the ministry, the environment, expects that all the conservation authorities and the municipalities they serve have come to an agreement on the inventory of services they have and signed MOUs. So we're in that process now, and I know our staff is engaged. I understand that there's meetings, intent to meet, and so through the next, I guess, the few months, there will be a discussion between the NVCA around quite an extensive inventory of services. They've done it in 3 categories: the ones that are mandated by the ministry and are pretty well required by the ministry, and so we'll recognize those services. And then there's category 2 services and 3 that are influence the levy if we support them. Okay, some are educational programs, some are non-mandated programs that we might find valuable. So each municipality has a chance to go through that. I've talked about this before, so it's just that we're getting into the process now, close to the end of the year, where we're going to have to have our staff come back with a staff report. So that's where we are right now, and that's basically all I think I want to say about that myself. Just wanted to give you an update.
Sorry, yes, Madam Clerk.
Sorry, Your Worship, that's just Councilor Lamers on the screen.
Oh, okay. Okay, so is anybody else who wanted to make other comments about 9.4? Okay, Councillor Patterson, 9.5.
Yes, the town of Aurora put out a request to support the private members bill, which is being referred to as Kira's law, and it's quite a significant piece of legislation that's going through, has gotten through 2nd reading in the Parliament, and it has much to do with a change in which the judiciary of the justice system in our country would handle violence against women, and in particular the extent at which the justice supports provisions that are not yet fully defined, as I understand it, in any judgment outlines that a court might hand out. One in particular would be, for example, electronic bracelets on gentlemen. So it's quite extensive. I've read through the document. I've heard some of the arguments for. I'm prepared personally to support this and put a motion forward if necessary to support it. I just want to say that I think from an emotional and a compassionate point of view, I think we would all understand what the point is. The details, I would hope somewhere down in the future that we get, maybe through our human resources, through the CAO's office, a much more contextual, detailed explanation of what this legislation really means to the people that live in our community. And I think the public would benefit from that. So my motion would be to support it. tonight. I put a motion forward, looking for a seconder. But in that motion, I would say that I would ask for a report to come back. I'm assuming our staff would seek experts as well on this to provide us and our citizens a little bit more detailed understanding of what this legislation means to us.
So Madam Clerk, I assume those magic fingers of yours are preparing a motion at this time?
Through Chair, that would be correct. I do have a question for clarification.
Yes, please go ahead.
Is Councillor Patterson wishing staff to actually bring a report back with more details on this bill before supporting it? Or is council wishing to support it and then have staff bring a report back?
Yes, the
Just-
latter. The latter. I don't need any more information, I don't think, to support this now, but I would like more information to keep us involved, because maybe this is another way of answering that question. There has been an MOU, it's in the press. There has been an MOU signed between the Chief Justice and the Department of Justice that gives primacy to the Justice Department in terms of what education judges would be given to be a little more sensitive to this issue. And that's one of the underlying provisions that this legislation private members bill was hoping to do. A little bit more sensitivity training, if you call it. And it's an area that I'm not really comfortable with in a detail level. None of us are, but I feel that, and I may be wrongly, but there may be pushback from our government to do what that bill is asking for. So it may not be enough just for us as municipalities to say, yes, we'd like you to do it. If we have to push a harder push
Great.
towards doing this, then maybe that's what we do when we get the report back from the staff.
So Madam Clerk, could you read the motion you prepared?
Okay.
And if that's acceptable to Councillor Patterson, then I would ask him to move it, and then I'll call for a seconder.
Okay, thank you, Chair. That the Township of Clearview hereby supports the town of Aurora in their request to the House of Commons to support private members bill C-233 that will raise the level of education on domestic violence and coercive control for federally appointed judges, and further that staff be directed to bring back a report to council providing further details on the private members bill C-233 and required training for the justice system.
So moved. Seconded by Councillor Leishman. Are there any other comments or questions anybody wants to add? I think Councillor Patterson has expressed it quite well. I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor? Motion carried. I am now going to go on to 9.6, and I believe Councillor Leishman had asked for 9.6 to be pulled.
Yes, I did. And I'm sure everybody's asking, well, what have we got to do with the Haldeman tract land dispute? Well, we don't, but we do. This actually, what they're asking for applies to most of the province. This goes far beyond just reading land rights at the beginning of a meeting. This actually supports the Indigenous community and pays them, well, helps to rectify some of the injustice that has been done with their land claims and things like that. So if you read through it, you'll see that it does apply to everyone in the province. And I'd like to have a letter of support sent, or I guess sent to Bradford in support of what this resolution is. Does that make any sense?
Do we need to pass a motion to send a letter? Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, through Chair, that would be correct. Just quick clarification, would Councillor Leishman like us to basically draft the same type of motion as we just did for the city of Brantford's?
Well, it might be helpful to explain why I'm doing this, but yes, that would be, be lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
So while our clerk is preparing the motion, is there any other comments you wanted to add to it?
No,
No. So, okay.
No.
So
I'm short and sweet.
is there any other comments from the other members of council who wanted to speak on this issue? I don't see any comments, then we'll wait for the clerk and her magic fingers. She is so good at this.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. That the Township of Clearview hereby supports the City of Brantford in their request to the province of Ontario and the Government of Canada to resume negotiations in good faith with the Six Nations of the Grand River to settle the legal proceedings filed against both governments on March 7th, 1995 by the Six Nations of Grand River.
Is that acceptable? So you are moving that, Councillor Leishman, seconded by Councillor Mamers, Councillor Broderick. Sorry, John, I'm wanting. Councillor Broderick. So moved in second. All in favor? Motion carried. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the original motion that says recommendation be it resolved that the Council of Township of Clearview hereby receive communications listed as items 9.2 to 9.6 on the agenda and file as information. Gonna have a mover for that. Go ahead, Councillor Broderick and Councillor Walker. Any comments or questions? Did you have a Tom, I saw you waving a card. No? Oh, okay. All in favor? Motion carried. Thank you. We'll now go on to county reports. Since I'm the only county rep here tonight, I guess I have the honors. 10.1, County of Simcoe media release, area homelessness needs update. It's just the continuing story of how homelessness is growing throughout the county. Some of the things they're trying to do to correct some of the problems. As you probably heard, they have stopped the motel program that they were doing, and now looking forward to building some other facilities, especially one facility where the old OPP station is in Barrie. So that's what's happening there. Are there any questions on 10.1? Nope. I'm going to go on 10.2. County of Simcoe media release public information center on the Barrie Collingwood Railway Active Transportation Trail. So basically what is happening is, I'm sure you're all aware, there's a trail, a railroad line that goes from Collingwood to Barrie, which has got purchased and is owned by the county and which is being used for trail purposes at this time. And they are going to hire some engineers and applied for an EA, environmental assessment, for the purpose of getting ideas and other things to expand the trail and make it other use for other facilities. Is there any questions on 10.2? And I just got past a note that Councillor Deneen has entered the meeting. Welcome, Councillor Deneen, from somewhere up in the woods up there somewhere. 10.3. County of Simcoe media release, Georgian Village opens behavioral support transition unit. As you know, the county owns 4 long-term care facilities. And as we know, as seniors get older, that some behavioral problems can arise. So they've opened up a special transition unit for those who are struggling through some behavioral problems and, just related to aging and things of that nature. Any other questions? Councillor Patterson.
When you're deputy mayor, as chair, maybe we should bring our bowling shirts with our name on the back.
I'm just used to calling you Tom.
I know. I just want to say, like, to you as a representative of the county, it's when I see reports like this coming from the county, I think it bears mentioning how important it is that we have such a strong and I think an aware regional government above us that is supporting our citizens in the way they do. Just 3 good reports that should give some comfort to our citizens that some of these problems are best done at a regional level through the county, and they really do provide an excellent service here for the homeless and recreation, and for those that need mental health concerns. So, good report.
Thank you, Councillor. And as most of you know, as a county councillor, when I was deputy warden, I was always rallying behind our long-term care people and the wonderful work that they do. And I can say I have been to all 4 facilities. I have sat and had lunch with the residents and eaten their food and been to many of their celebrations that they have. So it's been something that's very close to me to deal with this. So thank you for those comments. I appreciate very much, Councillor Patterson. So the recommendation is be it reserved that the Council of Township of Clearview hereby receive county reports and information and file as information. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Broderick and Councillor Lamers up there. Thank you, Councillor Lamers. And I saw Janine's, but Lamers went up first. I'm gonna, if there's no further comments, I'm gonna call for the vote. All in favor? Motion carried. Thank you. And we'll go on to council reports and community announcements. So I'm going to start off with Councillor Broderick tonight. Councillor Broderick.
Thank you, Your Worship. Mine's going to be pretty short and sweet. I attended the AMO conference from August the 14th to the 17th, where Clearview Council were invited to a private tour of the House of Parliament with our MP Terry Dowdle as our tour guide. And it was pretty good. It was quite interesting.
That's it. Councillor Leishman.
Thank you. Well, on Saturday, I was at the opening of the Village Green. And I can tell you, it was quite an exciting time. There was a lot of people there. I would have guessed about 500 just during the speeches. You think, Tom, about that? Yeah, it was packed. And there's so much activity going on. I mean, you think it's a small area, but it's not. And it was fabulous. And all the kids in the climbing tree. I met a gentleman from Barrie, and he just sort of happened to come to Creemore that day, and he thought this was great. And he looked up in the tree, and I said, yeah, we don't grow kids or apples. We grow kids, because look at them. And they were having such a great time. And the splash pad, oh my gosh, there was a little girl with a little dress on, and there's no way her dad was going to get her out of there. So it was a great day. And congratulations to everybody that was involved with the Village Green, because it was really well supported by the whole community, not just from Creemore, but from all of Clearview too. So thank you to everyone for that. It was a good day. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go to our members who are here by Zoom. So we'll deal with Councillor Deneen first. We can't hear you.
Sorry
Hey.
about that. I'm still trying to get used to this again. It's funny, after you've been off Zoom for a while, it's a little bit of a learning curve once again. I'm not sure, but can I congratulate our Mayor Measures on his acclamation and his new term on council? I'm hoping I can do that here. And I guess I did. And just to further what John Broderick was saying, the AMO was great. And if anybody has the opportunity to ever go to Ottawa, please sit on the front grass of the Parliament buildings and watch the Northern Lights and listen to the story of Canada. It is absolutely amazing, and it's a really good show. And there's not much going on. Everybody's busy vacationing and still getting ready for back to school. So I don't have much to report from the ward, but thanks very much. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Councillor Deneen. Councillor Walker. Oh, stop. Lamers. Councillor Lamers. I'm really. Councillor Lamers.
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, I haven't got very much. I attended the AMO conference in Ottawa with the mayor and Councillor Broderick and Deneen and Patterson. It was a great event, like usual, very informative. And I'd like to thank Terry Dowdle, our MP, for the tour of the West Wing. They're doing an amazing job there. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Lamers. Now, Councillor Walker. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Your Worship. Other than
this Thursday is the last music market in Target. Where did the season go? So please, everybody get out and attend. And other than that, Your Worship, that's all I have. Oh, one other thing. To the two stores in the main street that are doing some renovations and some new fronts, I think they're going to look wonderful once they're completed. So everybody give them a chance to get their job done
Oh, yeah, it's on.
before the comments are made, which have already been made apparently. Give them a chance to finish what they're doing first. And I think you will be relatively pleased with the outcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Councillor Patterson, please.
Yeah, thank you. Just comment on AMO. We do go almost every year. I guess there were a couple that were in person, that weren't in person, but I found that AMO this year was really a call to action. It wasn't just information that we were flooded with. We're faced in the country and in our province with challenges. Among them, inclusivity. We're still talking about equality in the workplace. We're still talking about the Indigenous folks. And so I really felt that there was actionable items that it's up to us now to absorb them. Climate change was clearly there. It wasn't just, when I went to my first AMO in 2006, 3/4 of the people left the room when somebody stood and talked about climate change. Without a lie. And now we were engaged. And then I thought the economic growth, which we always talk about, was much more focused on what municipalities could do to actually affect the growth with support from the province. So I thought it was excellent. Locally here, just give an update that we have started some of our traffic calming policy work. And right now, Public Works has installed some counters and we're on Caroline Street West, and it's a bit of a pilot to test how we can use some measures to just regulate the traffic for more safety on our roads, especially those that aren't fully urbanized. That's my report.
Thank you. And then I guess the last person to speak would be me. And Councillor Broderick.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just one more note. Councillor Walker is far too modest to bring this up. But this past Saturday, many of us attended a celebration for Robert and Judy's 50th wedding anniversary and Robert's 70th birthday. And it was pretty awesome.
Congratulations. Okay, so the only report I want to bring is obviously been busy dealing with, the usual things in Clearview and the things the mayor and I deal with on an ongoing basis. I will, in it county, of course, and the thing I would like to add is I did attend just last week. I sit on the accessibility committee for the county, and I was at the not New Tech, but I was at Angela Tazarano at their facility, their chambers and in the municipal building, and we did a review of their building as how it met accessibility, et cetera, et cetera. Quite a nice building, quite a nice layout, and that's about that. So I'm going to go council reports and community, unless somebody else has anything else to add. I'm going to move on to department reports and bylaws. And I'm going to read the first recommendation, CS 053-2022, Committee of Adjustment, August report. Recommendation, be it resolved that the county of the township, the council of, I'm doing well tonight. Be it resolved that the council of the township of Clearview hereby receive report CS 046-2022, Committee of Adjustment, August report dated August 22nd, 2022. Can I have a mover, please? Now, Councillor Lamers, Councillor Broderick, and Councillor Leishman. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Motion carried. Parks, Culture and Recreation, PRC 013 2022 Small Halls Festival Series 2022. Recommendation, be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PRC 013 2022 Small Halls Festival Series 2022 dated July 18th, 2022 for information. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Broderick, Councillor Walker. Any comments, questions? And Councillor Leishman.
Thank you. I would just like to inform everyone that Sunnydale Corners is doing the opening night and we got hot pants coming. So it's going to be a hot time in that town tonight. And I'm no better. I can't speak either. So don't forget to get your tickets because they're out now. And if you get them now, you get $10 off. So do it. It's going to be fun.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on this item? Going once, going twice. I got to look up to see our colleagues up there. I don't see any signs up there. I'm going to call for the motion. All in favor? Motion carried. The CAO's report, CAO-006-2022, the Institute of South Georgian Bay funding request. Recommendation, be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report CAO-006-2022, the Institute of South Georgian Bay funding request dated August 22nd, 2022 for information. And item number 2, approve funding in the Institute of South Georgian Bay in the amount of $5,000. Can I get a mover, please, to get this on the floor? Councillor Leishman and the seconder. And a seconder, Councillor Patterson. Open for comments and questions. Open for Councillor. Okay, Councillor Leishman. And Councillor Patterson.
I want to support this group because I think they're finally getting steam up and they're finally making progress and they're making a difference. I know it's taken us a while to get there. But I think they've got great intentions and I do believe they're trying to engage the whole community. So I would support this. Not hesitant, but I'll support it. I think we should do it at least once. And I'm hoping there'll be a counselor on the new council that will pick up the ball and run with it, with this institute. But if you're not, then I don't know where we're going to be. Anyway, I would support it.
Councillor Patterson.
Yeah, I will support it too. And I will pick up on Councillor Leishman's comment. I'm hoping that in order for us to understand how we're going to assimilate all that information and put the context of Clearview on it, I think we need to have direct involvement. I'm not particular whether or not it's a staff person. Like the CIO, I'm not nominating. I'm just saying somebody that has a broader view or a counselor that has the bent to do it. But as long as we can not just have a Clearview input, but to have a Clearview lens in terms of seeing focus. I think I've heard Councillor Broderick mouth to me. It's perfect. Exactly. So I think we're thinking the same. So I will support it. And I do like the way the CAO decided to make a recommendation to support it, because he's right on. Any group that seems to have the interest, this and gathering information will do us a service that will probably cost us more than $5,000 to bring some of that information in. So I support it.
Other comments? Anybody? How about Councillor Deneen? Trying to see if you, it's hard to see whether you guys have your sign out there. I thought I saw your sign up. Councillor Deneen.
I like the fact that they have to report back to us. I am hesitant at giving that amount of money out. I did sit through a couple of the seminars, and I'm just, if it's a joint effort to get some information, that's fine. Other than that, I am a little hesitant, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to say for that amount. Thanks so much.
Councillor Lamers, I can't tell if you had, it's quite dark and I can't see if you had your card up or not. Yes, go ahead, Councillor Lamers. Oh, was it a no? Okay, thank you. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna make some comments. It's no way I think we should be laying out $5,000 to this organization. Not at this time. I don't, this organization has been around. I know we're always being asked to donate to this, into that. I just feel $5,000 is a lot of money for us to be forking over at this time when we're all trying to keep our purse strings tight, and you know, families are still struggling through COVID. I'd be willing to pass the chair to make an amendment. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to pass the chair to Councillor Patterson so that I can make I won't, because who moved it? First of all, who moved the motion? You did. Okay. So I'm going to pass the chair to Councillor Patterson. The chair is yours. And I have a request to speak, Mr. Chair.
So do you request to speak, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah. Yes, I request to speak. I want to make a friendly, I'm going to call it a friendly amendment. I like to reduce the amount down to $1,000. I think $5,000 is just too much of a hit for us to put in to see, you know, how we are really going to benefit from it, because we always tend to seem to get, I know when we do these things, you know, Collingwood benefits from them, which is great, and Wasaga Beach and Blue Mountain, but I don't always see the benefits that us as Clearview benefit from it. So I'm making a friendly amendment if I could find a seconder to reduce it to $1,000.
Are there any other comments? Is that Phyllis?
Yeah.
Yes. Phyllis. Deneen. Councillor Deneen.
I'm sorry, that was just seconding the motion. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So we have an amendment to this. Are there any other comments before I call the vote? None? Anyone up on the Zoom? All right, so could I have the motion, the amendment read?
Through your worship, through your chair, that the motion be amended by striking out $5,000 and replacing the amount with 1,000.
So any further comments? All those in favor? Opposed?
You had 2 up there for yes, and
I'm sorry, did you see those?
so you had 4 yes, 3 no.
Could I have the clerk just call the vote? Tell me what the count was.
Okay, through your worship, or through your chair, you had 4 in favor and 3 against.
Okay, thank you. So that passes.
Yeah.
Thank you. And with that short, brief, raised to the heights of the chair of the meeting, I will pass it back to the chair and deputy mayor.
Thank you. And thank you for that opportunity. But for those watching us, I know procedurally, that's what happens. As chair, you cannot support the motion. You literally have to pass the chair to somebody else. So now we have an amended motion. And I don't think we need to read it again. We know it's been amended to 1,000. Any comments? Can we just go ahead with the vote?
Through your worship, you would have to vote on the motion as amended.
Yeah, the motion. Yeah, the motion is amended. Do we want to reread the motion?
If you would like, I can do that.
Okay, that would be great. Just
Okay.
so there's no confusion.
Thank you, Chair. Be it resolved that so this is the main motion as amended. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report CAO 006-2022, the Institute of South Georgian Bay funding request dated August 22nd, 2022, and approve funding to the Institute of South Georgian Bay in the amount of $1,000.
Great, thank you. So any further comments? We have a mover, we have a seconder. All in favor? And up there, unanimous. Thank you all. And thank you, Councillor Patterson, for helping me out there. Okay, we're going to go on to bylaws now. And it's 22-69, authorized sale of land, part lot concession to Nottawasaga PIN 74028-0040 LT. Be it resolved that bylaw 22-69 being a bylaw to authorize the sale of lands, part lot 26, concession to Nottawasaga, PIN number 74028-0040 LT, be presented and read the first, second, and third time and finally passed this 22nd day of August 2022. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Walker, Councillor Broderick. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Motion carried. Council remuneration expense bylaw. Be it resolved that bylaw 22-70 being a bylaw to provide for remuneration and expenses of council be presented and read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 22nd day of August 2022. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Leishman. I'll take Councillor Deneen. Is our seconder on that one? Any comments or questions? Councillor Patterson.
I would repeat some of my concerns from the last meeting when we approved this motion. I do think we do have to look at council remuneration, but I also think we have to look at council formation and the way they're elected. And I think the deputy mayor was heading down the road. I'm not sure that I was talking full time, but I do think we need to have make steps to encourage others who are perhaps not retired or means to have a chance to be on council. So I think it's a pretty big subject, and I'm hoping the next council will address it. On a financial note, I thought we didn't get as much granular information this time from the report as we did in 2018. So I can't know for sure if my comments are fair, but I do think the comparator group was somewhat skewed both at the mayor level at the low end and the council level at the high end. I think there was a couple comparators in there that made much bigger jumps than I think we anticipated, and may not have really ended up on a fair assessment. So I think that's why I think back then I suggested maybe we take it in 2 steps rather than take the whole thing at the 60th percentile. So I won't be supporting the bylaw, but I do support the general thrust that we have to look at compensation. But I think it includes a total look beyond just money. It's just, I mean, the responsibilities and the way they're elected.
Thank you. Any other comments? I don't see a card up from Walker's or Deneen, so I'm going to make my comments. I kind of support what Councillor Patterson says. I'm not going to support this motion, oddly enough. And as we all know, I'm leaving, so it has very little effect on me. While everybody else got substantial raises, the deputy mayor got like $1,000 raise, and everybody else is getting $4,000 and $5,000 raises. And I just found that quite ironic. But I still feel the mayor's job is far more than a part-time job, and is the deputy mayor's as well. But that said, unless there's any other comments, I am going to call for the vote, and let's see where it goes. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't see John's. Yeah, okay. You got the count? Yeah, okay. Those opposed? Motion carried. Funding agreement 22-73. MSP funding agreement, Creemore Landowners Group, Inc. Be it resolved that bylaw 22-70 being a bylaw authorizing entering into a Creemore water and wastewater master servicing plan funding agreement with Creemore Landowners Group, Inc. be presented and read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 22nd day of August 2022. I need a mover. I'll take Councillor Patterson. and Councillor Broderick. He's holding up a no sign, but it was. Councillor Patterson, the mover, Councillor Broderick for a second. Any questions or comments? Going once, going twice. I got to check our colleagues up on the screen there. I don't see any comments. Okay, call for the vote. All in favor? Motion carried. Notices of motion, new business. So we do have a notice of motion. Madam Clerk, did you want to read that notice of motion, or do we just?
Through your chair, I can do so. Whereas council adopted bylaw 2071 regulating off-road vehicles on certain public municipal highways. And whereas Schedule B of bylaw 2071 restricts off-road vehicles from all roads and road allowances south of County Road 9 to Township of Mulmer, and all roads and road allowances west of County Road 42 and County Road 142 impacting Creemore and Dunedin. And whereas residents of Creemore and Dunedin have requested that the bylaw be amended to lift the restrictions within the areas identified above to permit ATV travel from their properties to trails. Now therefore be resolved that staff be directed to bring forward an amendment to bylaw 2071, removing the restrictions identified above and inserting the following paragraph under section 2, regulation of off-road vehicles on highways in any settlement area except as means of direct access to the approved trail routes or to obtain core services.
Thank you. There's no vote. There's no discussion. This is strictly a notice of motion, which will be held at the next meeting on September the 12th. Yes, Councillor Patterson.
You did it. I was going to ask, but maybe just a fuller discussion for those in the audience and then listening in. Matter of interest, what our procedure is on a notice of motion.
Okay. Through your chair, what a notice of motion is, if a council member is looking to bring a motion to council, they can either provide a notice of motion or a report to council. With a notice of motion, it's brought forward at the first meeting to provide notice to council and members of the public, and then it's brought back to the second meeting for discussion and debate.
Thank you. And I'm just going to add a couple of comments. I personally and the mayor received several emails, in opposition to this, but some of the comments made were, council trying to change things at the last minute and push things through. So this was not a directive by the mayor or me or anybody on this council. It's simply procedure where a council member, in this case, Councillor Lamers, put forth a motion, a notice of motion. So it is not something that's been predetermined, and quite frankly, some of us were surprised to see this motion, but nonetheless, procedurally, any councillor is allowed to put forth any notice of motion at any meeting. And then it gets followed up on 2 weeks later at the next meeting. So it was not a directive from council to bring this up. Just some misunderstandings that were out there from some of the emails I read. Okay. I'm going to move on to our confirmation bylaw, unless somebody else had something to add at the last minute. I'll open the floor. Any last comments? Okay. Be it resolved that bylaw 22-71 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the August 22, 2022 council meeting be presented and read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 22nd day of August 2022. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Walker, and I'm going to go with Councillor Deneen's happily holding her card up there. So we'll go with Councillor Deneen is the seconder. I don't think there's any comments or questions. I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor? Motion passed. And finally, motion to adjourn. Be it resolved that the council meeting adjourn at 6:24 p.m. Gavin mover and seconder, Broderick and Nishman, all in favor. 6 minutes to spare, Mr. Patterson. Okay, thank you everybody in the audience for showing up. Thank you all at home for watching. And that concludes tonight's meeting. And thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Madam
Good night,
Clerk.
everyone.
Good night.
Awesome support.
Good night.